Welcome back to 23-Minute Reads with me, Maya D. This is kind of like my virtual book club because in these 6-minute or so videos, I share with you my takeaways from my current reading. Right now, that is African American Dance. As a part of my 23 to 23 challenge, I'm reading 23 minutes per day, every day as an action of self-love, as an investment into myself, and as a way of providing myself with some consistency in an ever-changing world. Hoping that you will join me along in this journey by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and dropping some comments down there in that comment section so there's an actual dialogue going on. Having in mind that while I have several decades of experience as a dancer, an educator, and a curriculum writer, I'm not the know-all be-all for this book. I'm simply providing a space for dialogue. Well, this week I read pages 61 through 120, and here are my 3 takeaways. Feel free to go ahead and like and subscribe while I get these notes together. Takeaway number 1 is General Training Day. I am continually amazed at how African Americans persevere, take a thing that could be conceived as a block and make something of it. Not just make something of it, but make it their own. And General Training Day is one of those cases. So General Training Day was a military holiday celebrated in New England. And here's a quote from the book, and more specifically a quote from Telfar Mook. After 1675, especially frequent Indian wars made it necessary that people should have some knowledge of military procedure and know what to do if attacked, end quote. These local militias were established and males of all ages were required to serve, to have and own their own arms that were in a serviceable condition. This practice began around 1631 as a weekly training day, but decreased to about twice a year around 1750. So we're looking at the 18th century. At the latter end of the 18th century, Congress would also pass a law barring blacks and Native Americans from the militia, even though blacks had served in several states during the past, including during the Revolutionary War. But that's okay. Once again, we're speaking of that perseverance and taking something, making it your own, and moving forward. In some places, blacks developed their separate training day just for them. This was called Negro Training Day. This would evolve to a more festive type of event that families could attend, and there were dance competitions there. So the Negro Training Day becomes this festive event where Northern African Americans could socialize and share dance via dance competitions and so forth. Takeaway number 2 is Alamacks. So a little bit of background information. Juba was a name that was used that was connected to Africans and African Americans that were considered good dancers. It might have connections to a dance called Guiba that was brought to the U.S. and to the Americas during the transatlantic slave trade. I share that to say that there were many Jubas when we look at history, but it was an Alamacks, the black-owned and operated dance cellar located in the Five Points district of New York, where Charles Dickens first meets William Henry Lane, aka Master Juba. This 1842 experience set off a chain effect that includes Lane traveling to Europe and even performing for the Queen. So here's another piece of background information. The minstrel show is considered by some to be America's first theater form, right? And in this form, white people don blackface and romanticize life on a plantation, commodifying and making a mockery of black culture, or what they assume to be black culture. I offer that because here's a writing of someone who was in England during the time in which Master Juba is there. He writes, "It is laughable betimes to witness the abortive attempts of those collier whitewashed personations of the Ethiopian. In this case, the Ethiopian is black people. The writer goes on to explain that these impersonations in no way match the sophistication, the virtuosity, and the grace of Lane. Why? Because they're not Lane. Lane's lived experience in the North, compared with, and not compared with, but including his experiences with competing, and allows him to travel around the world. And what we have in that case is his body becoming the site of dance history, and that dance history being shared throughout the world via the black dancing body. So, black culture is shared via the black dancing body, and part of that history is Alamacks, that black owned and operated dance cellar in New York. First time I heard of that. Takeaway number 3 is buck dance. In the buck dance section, we find this information. Amidst all of the improvisations, some steps coalesce into enduring forms, and there grew up a shared vocabulary. So the Civil War is a social political event that creates an environment for Northern soldiers to actually experience Southern culture with their own eyes. They can actually see it, right? And during this time, this shared space, we find the development, further development of the buck dance. The movement of the buck dance was mostly from the hips down and used sand and makeshift taps to create this soft but scratchy sound. This book continues to teach me something new. Drop a book, like a book emoji or the word book in the comments below if you are learning something new from this video or just enjoyed it. Thank you for staying to the end. Stay blessed, spread a good word, and I'll see you again soon.